I tested the water coming out of my kitchen faucet last week, and what came back in the results made me sit down. Not because the water looked dirty, it looked perfectly clear, crystal clear, ice cold, straight from the tap. But the laboratory report said something invisible was living inside it. A class of chemicals so persistent that scientists gave them a nickname. They call them forever chemicals. Because once they enter your body, they never leave. They do not break down in the soil, they do not break down in the river, and they do not break down inside your bloodstream. The Centers for Disease Control tested the blood of Americans across all 50 states. They found these chemicals in 99% of the population, including newborn babies. The companies that manufactured them knew they were toxic since 1961. They hid the evidence for over 40 years. They were sued for more than $13 billion in settlements. And the chemicals are still flowing through your tap right now, at this very moment, as you watch this video. This is the story of how the most persistent contaminant in American history ended up in your drinking glass. And the $1 activated carbon solution they are desperate for you to never discover. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. If you're not subscribed yet, hit subscribe and the bell. This is where we dig up what the chemical industry buried. Now let me take you back to where this nightmare began. In 1947, a team of chemists at the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company created a new class of synthetic molecules. You probably know that company today as 3M. The molecules were built around a bond between carbon and fluorine atoms, the strongest bond in all of organic chemistry. Nothing in nature could break it. Not heat, not water, not acid, not bacteria, not time itself. The chemists believed they had engineered the most durable synthetic material in human history. By 1951, DuPont started buying these chemicals to coat cookware, treat fabric, and line fast food wrappers. They branded the result Teflon and sold it as a miracle of modern science. Housewives loved the convenience, restaurants loved the speed, and the military loved it even more. The military mixed it into firefighting foam that could smother a jet fuel fire in seconds. By 1960, that foam had been deployed at over 600 bases, soaking into the soil and flowing toward municipal wells. But here's the part that DuPont and 3M kept locked behind closed doors. In 1961, DuPont scientists ran their first toxicity study on C8 and found that rats developed enlarged livers at low doses. The report said the substance should be handled with extreme care, then that document was stamped confidential. In 1970, an internal memo at DuPont's Washington Works plant confirmed what the Haskell laboratory had discovered. C8 was, and I am quoting their own internal scientists, highly toxic when inhaled and moderately toxic when ingested. They did not publish this finding in any journal, they did not alert the workers on the factory floor, and they did not tell the families drinking contaminated water 1 mile downstream. In 1979, the Haskell laboratory administered a single dose of the chemical to 2 dogs in a controlled test. Both animals were dead within 48 hours with catastrophic organ failure. Then, in 1980, something happened that should have ended everything. 8 pregnant women working on the PFAS manufacturing line at DuPont gave birth, and 2 of those babies had severe birth defects. DuPont quietly transferred all female workers away from the production area, but instead of disclosing what happened, they released an internal memo stating, and this is their exact corporate language: "We know of no evidence of birth defects caused by C8 at DuPont." That was a deliberate lie, and that lie protected the bottom line for another 2 decades. This video is just the surface of what I found. I have collected everything the chemical industry does not want you to know, all inside the complete Forbidden Camping vault. The complete off-grid blueprint with water sourcing and purification protocols that bypass contaminated municipal systems entirely. The 72-hour blackout checklist with emergency water treatment, steps your local government will never hand you. The Forbidden Firecraft Manual with field survival methods that kept soldiers alive when infrastructure collapsed around them. The Lost Rations Cookbook with food preservation techniques that eliminate dependence on industrial supply chains forever. Plus a complete water filtration construction guide with exact materials, measurements, and before and after lab data. Over 10 guides in one place, no fluff, straight to the point. The link is in the description. But stay right here because the video is just getting started. In 1984, DuPont ran secret water tests and found C8 in the drinking water on both sides of the Ohio River near their Parkersburg plant. An internal memo recommended eliminating emissions in a way that does not economically penalize the business, not in a way that protects the community, in a way that protects the margin. So instead of cleaning up the contamination, DuPont chose to dramatically increase production volume. More Teflon for kitchens, more firefighting foam for the military, more chemical coatings for fast food packaging across the country. The chemicals kept flowing into the Ohio River, seeping deeper into the aquifer, and quietly accumulating in the blood of over 70,000 people living across 6 water districts. Nobody told those families for 17 years, not one phone call, not one letter, not one public notice. Then, in 1998, a West Virginia cattle rancher named Wilbur Tennant watched hundreds of his cows die. His land bordered a DuPont landfill, and a creek running through it had turned black and bubbly. Tennant hired attorney Robert Bylot, and that decision changed environmental law forever. Bylot filed suit, and a court order forced DuPont to hand over 110,000 pages of sealed documents, internal memos, medical reports, and confidential studies on their own workers dating back decades. In 2001, he filed a class action on behalf of 70,000 residents and sent DuPont's own documents to the EPA. In 2004, the EPA sued DuPont for concealing evidence of risk to human health for over 20 years. DuPont settled with the EPA for $16.5 million, the largest civil penalty in the agency's history at that time. $16 million was pocket change for a corporation earning billions from Teflon alone. The settlement established the C8 Science Panel, 3 independent epidemiologists who spent 7 years studying 69,000 exposed residents. In 2012, they confirmed probable links between PFOA and 6 diseases: kidney cancer, testicular cancer, thyroid disease, ulcerative colitis, high cholesterol, and pregnancy-induced hypertension. DuPont eventually paid over $670 million in personal injury settlements from 3,500 individual lawsuits. And still, the chemicals sat in the water supply undisturbed. If you have made it this far, you already know more about what is in your water than 99% of Americans. Subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear what the chemical industry made us forget. Everything they buried is in the complete vault. Link in the description. Now stay with me because the next section is the heaviest. There are more than 12,000 types of PFAS circulating in our environment. The U.S. Geological Survey tested tap water from over 700 locations across the country. At least 45% of all American tap water contains one or more types of PFAS. As of March 2026, federal data confirms 176 million Americans have tap water that tested positive for these chemicals. The Environmental Working Group estimates over 200 million Americans are exposed to concentrations of 1 part per trillion or higher. And the International Agency for Research on Cancer confirmed that at least one PFAS chemical is a known carcinogen in humans. The EPA concluded in 2024 that there is effectively no safe level of exposure to PFOA and PFOS, the 2 most common compounds. 0 is the only safe number, and the legal limit is set at 4 parts per trillion. To understand how small that is, picture an Olympic swimming pool filled to the brim. 4 drops in that entire volume, that is the threshold where tissue damage begins. The carbon-fluorine bond that makes these chemicals useful is the same bond that makes them indestructible inside your body. Your liver cannot metabolize them, your kidneys cannot flush them, no biological process on Earth can break the chain. The half-life, for the most common types, is between 3 and 8 years inside your bloodstream. If you stop all exposure today, it takes nearly a decade to cut the concentration in half. And you cannot stop exposure because PFAS are in the rain, in the soil, in food packaging, and in the water you cook with every night. So the question is simple: why is this still in your water after everything you just heard? Because the chemical industry generates hundreds of billions of dollars per year from products built on this molecular structure. 3M alone reported over $34 billion in annual revenue before announcing it would exit PFAS manufacturing by 2025. DuPont split its business into 3 entities to dilute legal liability across corporate shells. In 2023, 3M agreed to pay up to $12.5 billion to settle contamination lawsuits with public water systems. DuPont and its spin-offs settled for an additional $1.185 billion. In 2025, New Jersey alone extracted $2 billion from DuPont for contamination at 4 sites. That is more than $13 billion in total settlements, and not a single executive went to prison. The firefighting foam industry, the food packaging industry, the textile waterproofing industry, they all depend on this chemistry. You cannot patent clean water, you cannot create a subscription for an uncontaminated aquifer, and you cannot bill someone monthly for a chemical that was never introduced. The economic model requires you to keep drinking and never question what is dissolved inside. In April 2024, the EPA established the first national drinking water limits for 6 PFAS compounds. It was the most significant clean water regulation in a generation. Then the rollback started. In May 2025, the EPA rescinded limits for 4 of those 6 chemicals and pushed the compliance deadline for the remaining 2 from 2029 to 2031. In September 2025, the EPA filed a motion in federal court to eliminate standards it had finalized just 1 year earlier. A federal court denied that request in January 2026, but the chemical lobby is not finished. The message from the system is unmistakable: you are on your own. But here is what the filtration industry charges hundreds of dollars to sell you. The EPA's own published research confirms that granular activated carbon is one of the most effective technologies for removing PFAS from drinking water. 1 gram of activated carbon has a surface area equal to several football fields of microscopic pores. Here is what you need from any hardware store or online. A bag of granular activated carbon made from coconut shell or bituminous coal. 2 food-grade buckets, one with a spigot at the bottom, one plain that stacks on top. Drill small holes in the bottom of the upper bucket and line it with a piece of unbleached cotton cloth. Fill that upper bucket with 4 to 6 inches of activated carbon. Pour your tap water in and let gravity pull it slowly through the carbon bed into the collection bucket below. The slower the drip, the longer the contact time, the more complete the PFAS removal. For best results, run the water through the system twice. Total materials cost under $10. Replacement carbon, roughly $5 every 2 to 3 months depending on volume. Compare that to a commercial reverse osmosis unit that runs between $150 and $1,000 before annual maintenance. Now, I need to be honest about one limitation, because credibility matters more than hype. Activated carbon excels at capturing long-chain PFAS like PFOA and PFOS, the 2 most common and dangerous compounds in American water. Shorter chain molecules are harder to trap because their smaller structure bonds less strongly to the carbon surface. Researchers at Duke University and NC State tested 76 household filters and found carbon systems removed an average of 73% of total PFAS. Reverse osmosis systems achieved 94% or higher removal. So the ideal setup is a 2-stage approach. Carbon first for the bulk of contamination, then a secondary filter for what slips through. But even a basic gravity-fed carbon filter removes the deadliest compounds from your water for less than the price of a drive-through meal. That is the math the industry prays you never do. If every household in America built a $10 carbon filter, the residential water filtration market collapses. If communities demanded municipal carbon treatment at the source, the liability shifts back to the corporations that created the contamination. If people stopped buying bottled water, which the FDA does not even require be tested for PFAS, another revenue stream disappears. A bucket of carbon in 10 minutes of your time cannot be monetized, cannot be patented, and cannot generate quarterly shareholder returns. And that is exactly why you have never seen this on the evening news. This knowledge did not die. It was waiting. Waiting in sealed court documents and redacted corporate memos and in the unread studies of scientists who were ignored for decades. Every kitchen faucet in America is now a decision point. Keep trusting the system that contaminated your water and then fought in court to delay cleaning it up. Or spend 10 minutes and $10 building the filter they never wanted you to find. If this video opened your eyes, subscribe and share it with everyone you know who still thinks their tap water is clean. Every share preserves what the chemical industry spent $13 billion trying to bury. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside hits even closer to home.